Sumeru is the capital of study, a mecca for the academics and those looking to peel back the hidden layers of Tevat through research and rigorous examination. But what happens when you aren't born for the rigors of academics? Nilou might be a character a lot of people are looking forward to summoning, but if you gauge Nilou's popularity from the Sub-Zero's festival alone, you might get the impression that the people of Sumeru give little attention to her or the arts. While she may appear to be largely insignificant within the story, in truth, she is quite famously known amongst the citizens of Sumeru, especially in the Grand Bazaar. So if her focus has mostly been towards the arts and improvement of her dance, how exactly did this lead her to getting a vision? Before we get into that, if you want to see more Genshin Impact content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Unlike most lore that I've covered, Nilou's story does not start off with a tragedy or challenges that she has had to overcome. She was born to a family that was very close and loving, and as she grew up, her upbringing was pretty much uneventful. Unlike most of those in Sumeru who are driven to a life of academics, Nilou's parents felt that she should choose her own path and did not push her towards the academia. By her own admission, Nilou has felt lucky that she was born into such a family, as she herself feels she isn't suited nor does she have the talent to be studious. But at the same time, a feeling of emptiness also would eventually grow because of this. When she was young, she always felt a little aimless and without purpose. That is until she took a walk through the Grand Bazaar during the Sub-Zero's festival. After getting a ton of candy from the Night of Flowers, she strolled into the bazaar and towards the stage. It was at this moment that she was exposed to the art of dance being performed by her future teacher. As she watched, she was entranced by the movements and flow of the dancer's body accompanied by music, and eventually began to also mimic her movements without realizing it. To her embarrassment, the candy she had been carrying all fell to the ground around her. The performer on stage witnessed this and came down to assist her. After seeing her emulate her dance, she extended an offer to join her the next time. Nilou obviously accepted this offer, and I suspect it has something to do with finding her place in the world and giving meaning to her life. So while she was out of her depth, she willingly jumped into something that has largely been foreign to her. Since then though, she has had to spend many hours practicing and perfecting her dance and movements. While she tried to learn as much as she could from her teacher spoke in ways that were more analytical and thought-heavy, something Nilou couldn't reconcile with her own performance. But despite this, she was still grateful for her guidance and still tried her best. During this time, she also felt another talent grow within her that related to her upbringing in her close-knit family. She realized that she was an exceptional mediator and could calm those even in the most heated of arguments, and through this ability made many friends in the Grand Bazaar, even going so far as to call them her bigger family. She considered this a gift directly from the Dendro Archon herself, who was said to have endless compassion. The only thing though is that she didn't know how to combine this talent with her dance, and she wanted to express her emotions with those who had given her life so much meaning and fulfillment. This was what she would eventually strive towards. But what has any of this got to do with her vision? Now, despite hours of practice and the best efforts of her teacher, she still could not figure out how to express her true emotions through the people witnessing her performance. Nilou had sought out the meaning of dance many times before, and not once has she come close to understanding it. After all, these talks about the meaning of dance was just confusing. She wasn't someone who can easily grasp something as nebulous as the meaning behind something. Regardless, she kept on rehearsing, and during one performance, she finally held nothing back. She fully embraced the raw emotions of the dance and what she felt, and put aside this search for meaning, at least for that moment. All she wanted to do was to fully express her feelings to the crowd. Throughout the performance, she was akin to being entranced, and soon vivid images that expressed the nature of the dance began materializing. Everyone was mesmerized by her, and after the performance was done and the curtain fell, she finally had a seat satisfied with the outcome. At this very moment though is when a weight pulled on her waist. The feeling of cool and clear water materialized, and as she looked down, a hydrovision came into view. It was here that she finally understood the meaning behind the art. As a performer, she was to embody beauty and become just an instrument to convey that beauty, and in so doing finally express the true value of her art. While she was satisfied with this outcome, the receival of the vision had signaled something far beyond her imagination, whether she had realized it at the time or not. It indicated that Nilou was ready to move to the next step of her journey and perhaps ascend to levels unheard of for an artist. The choice of choosing to stay at where she is or ascend to the next level will eventually present itself. Ascending, though, isn't a simple thing, and it's often a long and solitary road as we commonly see with other vision holders. If she were to accept this, it would mean moving beyond her family, which she has cared for so much. The choice, or rather the fork in the road for her here, would be to ascend to higher levels and elevate the arts by essentially abandoning her family, or staying and abandoning her dream. But this choice isn't something that's happening today. Only something that she will have to face somewhere far into the future. Having received acknowledgement for her art by the gods themselves, Nilou has not changed much since then. At this point in the story, she has practically gotten everything she has ever wanted. A big family, meaning and purpose in her life, gaining a fuller understanding of the art of dance, and even coming back with a vision. So while she returns to her family seemingly the same, in truth, Nilou has started on a journey that may lead her to unraveling and witnessing the true nature of the world. Ironically, she might achieve this before any of those scholars whose job it is to actually do this, despite their jabs at the folly and wasteful nature of her art. But that does it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, do consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. And as usual, have a nice day.